All right, let's dive in. We're about to explore a very specific, and let's be honest, a very human corner of the internet. It's a place where frustration, a little bit of overconfidence, and some really bad science all get together to create some pure, accidental comedy. Yep, we are talking about the wild world of one-star product reviews.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple story. Picture it. A guy gets a lemonade, the cup holder is flimsy, the lemonade spills, and who does he blame? The manager, right? Not gravity, not the cheap plastic. He blames a person who had absolutely nothing to do with it. That exact moment, that bizarre misdirection of blame, is exactly what we're going to explore today, just in a slightly different lab.
Because we're basically telling that same story, only our hero isn't at a fast food place. Nope, they're at home, surrounded by beakers and mysterious powders, trying to make a crystal garden or maybe a baking soda volcano. So you can think of this as a kind of mockumentary. We're going to observe these at-home scientists in their natural habitat as they experience some pretty spectacular failure.
So this impulse, this knee-jerk reaction to blame the manager for the laws of physics, what do we even call that?
Well, for our little mockumentary today, we're giving it a name: Defective Logic.
And there it is, defective logic. It's that all-too-human tendency to point a finger at the product, the company, the entire universe when something goes wrong, all just to avoid pointing that finger back at ourselves. It's like an automatic reflex designed to save our ego.
So if we were wildlife documentarians trying to capture this behavior on film, where would we go? Where could we find the purest, most unfiltered examples of defective logic thriving in the wild?
Oh yeah, right here, this is our gold mine. The reviews section for at-home science kits is this beautiful, chaotic jungle where really ambitious parents and totally confused kids go to publicly blame a box of plastic and colored powder for their own scientific misadventures.
So let's meet the main species in this environment, the central character in this whole drama. We're going to call them the confident novice.
Every great story needs a hero, right? And ours is the one-star reviewer. They start their journey with nothing but the best intentions and just this unshakable, rock-solid belief in their own abilities. And this, as we're about to see, is their first big mistake.
So what makes them tick? Well, first off, instructions aren't helpful guides. They're basically an insult to their natural genius. They operate on pure intuition, assuming they have a PhD in chemistry that they just, absorbed somehow. And, most importantly, in the story playing out in their head, they are never, ever the problem.
So our confident novice starts the experiment and it's a dud. The volcano doesn't erupt. The crystal is just some murky water. Now this is the turning point. This is when they shift into what we like to call conspiracy mode.
And their thought process is fascinatingly simple and happens in a split second. Step 1, there's a problem. The blue liquid was supposed to turn pink, and it didn't. Step 2, an immediate, almost subconscious rejection of any personal fault. The ego's defense shields go right up, which leaves only one logical conclusion. Step 3, they've been had. The product has to be a total scam.
You can almost hear the internal monologue, can't you? It's a defense mechanism just kicking into overdrive. The idea that I am smart and the reality that I have failed just can't coexist. So the only way to fix that is to decide the equipment, the company, maybe science itself, is all part of a giant conspiracy against them.
So, what's the final artifact of this whole journey into conspiracy? Well, it's the one-star review itself. So let's put it on the table and perform a little autopsy. Welcome to Section 4, Anatomy of a Review.
Here's our first piece of evidence. Exhibit A. You see this one all the time. The materials are cheap, the plastic is flimsy, the parts are inferior. It sounds like a totally legitimate complaint about quality control, doesn't it?
But usually there's a much simpler translation. Inferior parts is often just code for I used way too much force and I snapped the little plastic tube. Cheap is just what you call something right after you've accidentally stepped on it.
And now for Exhibit B, a true classic, the direct assault on the instruction manual. Notice the wording. They aren't just bad, they are illogical, a word specifically chosen to make the reviewers sound like a bastion of reason in a world of chaos.
Which of course usually just means one thing. I didn't read them. The instructions weren't impossible to follow, the attempt was just completely uninstructed.
So you start to see this pattern emerge. On one side, you have these grand, elaborate narratives of corporate conspiracy and widespread fraud.
And on the other side, the actual cause is almost always something incredibly simple, something human. They were a little careless, or they just plain made a mistake.
Now, this is all pretty funny, but why does any of this actually matter? I mean, why should we care about angry people yelling at science kits on the internet? Well, let's zoom out for our final section, our inner reviewer.
It matters because this isn't really just about science kits. This behavior, this defective logic, it's like a little window into the human psyche. It's a universal trait that, let's be honest, we all have, whether we type it out in a product review or just kind of mutter it to ourselves when something goes wrong.
This whole funny little habit actually reveals some pretty deep truths about us. It shows our incredible reluctance to just say, "Oops, my bad." It exposes that powerful, primal need to protect our own ego at all costs. And it highlights our amazing talent for spinning stories where we're the innocent victim. It's a textbook case of what psychologists call the fundamental attribution error. We blame outside forces for our failures, but we take all the credit for our successes.
And at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. When you see that angry all-caps review, you are not just reading a complaint about a product. You're looking at a shield, a carefully built wall of words designed for one purpose, to protect a fragile ego from the simple, harmless truth of a mistake.
Which leaves us with just one final thought to take away from all this. Look, we've all been that person with the spilled lemonade. We have all looked for someone or something else to blame. So the real question is, what or who is your flimsy cup holder?